Hey everyone. Thanks for coming. All right. Let's do a couple of these. All right. So I want to do two things today. I want to talk about how you can take your AI-assisted development and use Slack to supercharge that, to streamline it. And I also want to touch upon how you can use Slack to deploy agents and build AI. So I'll try to go over some high-level topics when I can. I don't know, actually, who in this room uses Slack? In the room, in this box area that uses Slack? Okay, has anyone developed on Slack before? Okay, one or two, okay. So I'll go over I'll try to sneak in some high-level concepts. All right, so the Slack platform came out maybe 8 to 10 years ago, and at its core, it's basically an event-driven platform, right? Just like Slack, the products. So back then, we called them bots, right? Bots were just basically non-human actors within the Slack workspace. And now we call them agents, which are bots with LLMs attached. But the technology and the architecture is almost exactly the same. So the past few years, we've found a really good match with the development that's been happening. So it's really kind of a natural match of Slack, and seeing a lot of explosions. So I want to focus on the far right here. I'm not going to talk about Slack usage. I'm going to really focus on developer conference. So we'll focus on AI specifically and what we're doing within Slack. So every company is complex. There's no one silver bullet, one solution that works. Companies make acquisitions. They have employees build things and leave. There's always a blend of solutions. So our approach to AI is trying to support all of that. Whether it's out of the box, whether it's something that you've had running on your servers for 10 years, whether it's a partner that you chose to work with. So we try to build in a way and give you the tools to be able to serve all those things. Because really, I'm sure all the businesses you work for use all that. So I would say our biggest advantage is the UI. So when you're developing AI, you should be focused on what? The new technology, the business value, the solution. Slack gives you an out-of-the-box UI you don't have to worry about. We've introduced some new things this year. So I've seen work objects. We're having some new multimodal stuff that's coming out. And then probably one of the most popular aspects of working in Slack and building AI is context, right? So to have a good agent, what you need is who's talking to who, what are the relationships, how do people relate to each other, channels relate to each other, objects relate to each other, what happened last week, and also what happened in the last 5 minutes. So oftentimes, that's what it takes to have a good contextual agent that actually makes sense, that actually serves a purpose. So we give that to you through a set of APIs where you can call in real time. You can call on behalf of the user as well. So when you're launching agents into Slack, you can understand what that user is allowed to see and only what that user is allowed to see, and then use that context for the agent. So we also launched this year some automation. So like I mentioned, every company is different. Sometimes you don't want to build, right? So you just want to be able to do no code or configure. So if that's the case, you can also automate that in Slack. And then lastly, what we've been trying to do is take all these new UI elements you see around the internet on different AI products you use and blend them into a Slack platform, but do it in a way that doesn't increase developer load. It doesn't take any cognitive work to do. So we put in streaming, shimmer states, thinking strings, things like that, kind of naturally into a platform, but we've done it in ways that it allows you to develop very quickly. So I want to run a demo here, and what I want to show you is how you can use some tools you might use today when you're developing with AI within Slack. All right, so I'm going to talk through this. Well, this is Slack, if you haven't seen it. What we have here is a payments channel. This is a group of developers working on a payments app, right? So GitHub is in here. In your Slack, you probably have many different apps and bots sending messages, so this may seem familiar to you. But in addition to GitHub, what we also have is a Copilot agent. So launching agents into Slack is essentially native. We've had the capability for a while, we've matured it, but it just comes out of the box functionality. So in this example, let's say there's an issue and I want to invoke an agent that's in this channel. So what I'm going to do is call up the GitHub Copilot agent from this action fail and just call it like I'm calling another human, right? There's actually 6 different agents in this channel, but I'm just going to call GitHub Copilot. And what it's going to do is it's going to take off. It's going to say, all right, I have a job to do, I'm going to do it. You might see some emojis being used. So I think it'll say, yep, I have some eyes, I'm looking at this. So I know there are 8 people in this channel. Your channels may have 1,000, you may have 5. But typically you want everyone in the channel to understand that something's happening and I don't have to do anything, and then the one person being able to do that thing, right? That's probably the most efficient way to work. So what Copilot will do is automatically let your team know, yep, this is being looked at, being taken care of. We've went ahead and created a PR. You can look at it in the web as well, and then it'll use some of our new UI elements to just update the progress along the way, which is pretty cool. So if you used Copilot before, or Cursor, Codex, this will look very familiar to you. You can see you're running agents. So we always try to give you the ability to deep link exactly where you need to go in case you want to go do some deep work outside of Slack, right? Because sometimes that's the best place to do it. So if you really want to see if there's different processes running, you can go ahead and deep link there. And then this PR essentially will just be updated over time. I think overall it's going to do maybe 3 commits. And then Copilot will just do its thing. But again, we'll deep link for the people that need to go out. And the best part of bringing the AI development into Slack is it's becoming more and more asynchronous, right? No one wants to sit there and stare at their computer and watch it work. So when you're in Slack, it'll just give you a notification when it's done, right? If you want to go check, you can see what it's doing, great. Or you can go about your day, and your little activity monitor will pop up when it's done. I want to point out a couple other things. So in this one channel, I think we have 6 agents total. We have some other agents here. We have Claude, Codex, Cursor. Does anyone use Cursor? That's right. Anyone? Oh, that guy does. Anyone use Codex? Or Claude? Okay, all right, so maybe most on Claude. So all these agents are in that channel as well, and you can call them in the exact same way. So that's an interesting distribution though. In addition to that, we have some out-of-the-box agents. So oftentimes if you don't want to build, you just want to use Salesforce agents, we have those as well, and those are going to be under the agents tab. And what those are really useful for is saving your team time. So Channel Expert is one that we came out with earlier this year. I'm sure everyone in this room's had channels where people drop in and ask questions. Maybe they're good questions, maybe they're bad questions, but they're definitely distracting questions, right? So what the Channel Expert does is it automatically looks back through the channel, also looks at any resources that you choose to give it access to. You can just click and add to it, and it'll go ahead and try to answer those questions. So it's great for people that aren't on your team. Maybe it's great for you if you came back from vacation, you're like, all right, what happened? Or maybe there's like, does this issue happen before? It's just a little value add. I use it in all my channels. It's great. If someone asks something, there's a very good chance that they can get that answer through those resources or the past 500,000 messages or pings that came into that channel. So that's cool. And the employee agent's a fun one too, because this channel's called Payment PR. Every once in a while, you might get someone pop in and be like, oh, my reInvent expense was rejected, which obviously the development team would not support that. So this agent would kick in and be like, all right, no, here are the company resources. Like, you want to go here to ask accounting about this. So, yeah, having all those within, maybe you wouldn't have 6 within one channel. This is always for demonstration purposes, but you can, and they can live there in harmony. So looking over here, we have the plan. So the agent's saying, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm doing it, and it'll update you along the way. At the end, it'll clean all this up, actually, so it'll just have a nice message. It says in progress. I think it's, okay, so it's done. And what you can do, you can also open up in VS Code. So really the whole goal is to let the people find what they need to find, let everyone else know things are happening, cut down on communication. Okay, so we're back here. Obviously, this is an extremely simple solve. This isn't a really complex agentic solution, but it did solve it. It created a PR, I went there. So if I close here and I go over to the actual PR, the other thing that happens is I might be over here, I might be reviewing it, maybe it takes 5 minutes, maybe it takes 2 weeks. But because that agent is over in the channel, whatever I do in here is automatically going to reflect so my other teammates can see. What's interesting about that is it also shows up in search, right? So for incidents that pop up when you're using Slack search, when you're searching in Slack bot, all of this data will now pop up, like, oh, that incident actually was resolved. That just happens automatically for everyone in the company, which I think is really interesting. So, not best practices, no comment, merge, obviously not the best thing to do, but you can see it actually keeps it updated. You can see the history of the issue, and then actually the resolution. So, pretty interesting. All right, I think that's done. Let me pop over here. All right, so I showed you a couple. We launched probably hundreds this year. Slack platform is always free. You can just install apps. You don't have to worry about it. If you're paying these companies, we want to make sure you get the most value out of that. So if you go over to the Slack marketplace, you can click to install and add them to Slack. So I encourage you to check that out after this. Okay, so shifting more to, say, from AI-assisted development to actually building agents in Slack. So this is good because I think most of you hadn't built on Slack before. So what is a Slack app? Like I said before, Slack is, it's an event-based platform, right? Essentially, an app is something that sits over here, receives events, and sends events back. I mean, it's not something you configure on Slack, so we're language agnostic. I do want to call it one really cool thing though, which helps takes zero from zero to hello world from like hours to minutes, and that's the ability to use WebSockets. So when you launch a local Slack app, you can use our CLI. Many of you probably use Vibe code now, or AI assist code. That works well too. You can actually run it in socket mode, so you don't have to worry about setting up an endpoint. You don't have to worry about getting approval to set up this static endpoint for events to go to. You can actually run it right away within seconds and have that work in Slack. In that scenario, hopefully you're starting in a sandbox, but then when you go to production, you have the option to keep it in socket mode or set up a static endpoint. So you always have that option, and when you're building for a company, it's a really nice option to have. I don't know if anyone's ever been in those arguments trying to open up an endpoint before, but it can kill a project extremely quickly. So there's a couple concepts in Slack with OAuth. I guess they're not that unique, but when you install a Slack app, we have the bot or the agent. Then we also have the ability to authenticate each individual user, which is more and more popular these days. So I mentioned earlier how you can get the context for that user. You can take actions on behalf of that user. You can search, you can understand who they talk to, what they talk about, how things relate in their life within Slack. You can pull all that in through our APIs, and it's just a simple OAuth. You can get that through the user. So that's a really important topic as well. All right, let me come back over here. And I thought about showing you, I don't know, some complex ways to build and getting deep, but frankly, like, if I was going to build on Slack and I was going to launch an agent, this is what I would probably do, so I just thought I would show you the simplest possible way. So this is Cursor. If you use Cursor, you recognize it. But basically, in the past 10 years, Slack, we've made a lot of hard choices, right? It's incredibly simple to make a complex platform. You just say yes to everything. Like yes, 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 yes. You have this incredibly complex platform. It takes you 18 months to learn to configure. You need a PhD to even enter the space. We've always taken the opposite approach. Like, no, we want to be simple, straightforward, easy to use. We want you to be able to build an app in less than an hour. We want it to be quick. And it's paying dividends now, because it lends itself very, very, very well to AI assist or vibe coding. So when you plug your tools against Slack, I mean, this is using a simple one paragraph, maybe 2-sentence prompt saying, build me an assistant-like agent using public Slack docs, and go nuts. It's searching the web, there's a couple tools, but I'm just kind of letting it run. And it's obviously running it fast forward, but I think when I recorded it, it took 6-7 minutes. And at the end, you get a fully functioning Slack app with one paragraph. So, I mean, that's probably the biggest advantage of our platform is just that simplicity, right? The ability to just try it out. Because when you're building, I mean, I don't know how many people in this room have built something that is in POC purgatory. Probably everyone. I have, like most of my stuff is in POC purgatory, I would say. So, I mean, really the advantage to this quick approach is you get in users' hands, right? Something might seem incredible in your mind and might be like, you think you're like curing everything, but you get in users' hands, like, yeah, that's not that sweet. So being able to actually launch and test quickly is critical, right? You might fail 99 times out of 100 when we're on like the frontier of building agents, trying new solutions. So being able to actually do it this quickly and launch, I think it's critical. I mean, one thing I always caution against is spending 6 months with a plan, building big architecture, because everything changed since then, right? Just get it in someone's hands, start testing. Yeah, so I just gave it that one prompt, and that is an installable Slack app. You could run that by run and socket mode, and it's in your Slack workspace. You don't have to do anything else. So, back over here. Okay. All right. So, I want to open up to some questions. Questions about Slack, about AI, about agents, about tools you use, anything I talked about. Anyone got anything? No? All right. No one? Okay. Okay, well, check us out over 840. It's that way. It's like, if you see Red Hat, it's past that. So if you want to come by, we can show you how to build, talk through solutions, work with you on whatever. Yeah, thank you.